welcoming our very, very illustrious and eminent panelists from Western Sydney University. Good evening to all of you. I'll make a very brief introduction of you all. Firstly, we have Professor Peter with us. Professor Peter is the Dean of the School of Humanities and Communication Arts. His contribution in the field of research has been immense. Besides his academic illustrious career, he has also been a board member of TVS till 2015. Very interestingly, I was just reading about him that he is currently researching the issues of sovereignty and cinema in the post 9/11 period. We welcome you, Professor Peter.
Thank you, Colonel Sharma. Very nice to be here.
We also have on the panel with us Dr. Asha Chand. She is the Associate Dean International and Dean's Unit School of Humanities and Communication. She has had 10 awards. I was not aware, but in November 2018, she was conferred with Mahatma Gandhi, and this was followed in 2019 by Hind Ratan, which Professor Asha holds a PhD from University of Sydney, and she also supervises the PhD and Master's programs in the area of her specialization. I must make a mention here that the joint articulation program about which we are going to be discussing today, she has been one of the instrumental persons who has worked with me to make this happen. We welcome you, Professor Asha.
Thank you.
We have with us then Ms. Jackie. She has extensive experience in the advertising industry and has developed many campaigns. She holds a Master's of Commerce in Marketing and is currently undergoing a PhD. Interestingly, she was awarded in 2017 the Arden Award for Best Conference Paper by a doctoral student. We welcome you, Ms. Jackie.
Oh, thanks, Colonel Sharma.
We also have Dr. Myra with us, who is the academic course advisor for the Bachelor of Communications and Screen Media program. She has a BA Honors in English Literature and also in other subjects. She also has a MA in Communication and Cultural Studies from the University of Western Sydney and also a PhD from Western Sydney University. We welcome you, Dr. Myra.
Thank you, Colonel Sharma.
In addition to the eminent panelists, we also have Ms. Nimi with us, who is an international student in the Bachelor of Communication program at Western Sydney University. Ms. Nimi studied journalism for 1.5 years at St. Joseph's College, Bangalore, and then joined WSU with advanced standing credits. She will be speaking to us about her experiences and about how excellent her program has been at WSU. Finally, we also have Ms. Namrata Anand, who is the Senior Manager for Recruitment and Operations for South Asia. She's based in Delhi, and she has been very, very helpful in organizing this panel session for all of us. So collectively, on behalf of Manav Rachna, I would like to welcome all of you from Western Sydney University. From our side, Manav Rachna, we firstly have the Dean, Dr. Mithili Ganju, who is the Dean of Faculty of Media and Humanities in our department. We have other faculty members. We have students, both from our university as well as our schools. We are also joined by few parents who are interested in their children taking up this program. I will request all the participants from our side to please reserve their questions till the end of the presentation by the WSU team. We will take all these questions through the chat box towards the end. I will now hand over the proceedings of the session to Professor Peter.
Thank you, Colonel Sharma, and can I acknowledge you and thank you again for your hospitality and your organisation of the seminar, and also acknowledge Dr. Matali Ganju as the Dean of the Faculty of Media Studies and Humanities, and also welcome all the staff, students and family members who are participating in the seminar today. Asha, would you be able to start the slide presentation?
Yeah. Peter, can you see the slides?
They're not in slide view, Asha. They're at the end and they're not in slide view yet.
Oh God, it's not.
Yeah, that's the start of the slide. If you could just pop it into view, that would be great.
It's not happening, Peter. I don't know.
You just need to get your cursor right down the bottom of the screen, I think, just to click the view icon on the right. Now you've dropped to the bottom of the slides. So
if you go under slideshow at the top, Asha.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. It's not.
your cursor hasn't selected slideshow.
Right at the top, in the top
menu.
Yep, up there. Go along to slideshow.
Keep going to the right. Further across.
No, it's not. No, I don't know. It's not happening, Peter. I don't know. I'm just feeling.
Do you want to take help of Namrata to?
Namrata, you've got the slides. Can you share, please? Yeah. Sorry about this.
Yes, Ashaji, I can do that.
That's fine. Perfectly fine.
And if you could pop it onto slide view, so we get the full screen. It didn't work. It's not shared now.
I hope it's visible now.
Yeah, it is visible. Perfect.
It's visible. It's not in slide view.
You can start the slideshow.
Okay.
Is it fine?
No, it is still same.
I can see that.
Namrata, click on the slideshow. I don't know. It wasn't showing on mine.
Yeah, I can
the
see
menu
that.
up the
Not
top-
sure.
The menu up the top says slideshow about the middle of the screen.
Is it better? No?
It's still not in slideshow.
Oh dear. Myra, can you do that, please?
Yeah, I think it's something to do with Zoom.
Yeah, I had a similar problem. Myra, perhaps you can do that. You've got the slides too.
Yeah, I'll just have a go. Hang on. Oh. I can, if I can find it.
It was sent to you on a Friday, Myra. Last Friday.
Okay, hang on. Here we go.
Thank you.
Okay. Can we see that?
Yep.
There we go.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Maura.
Yes.
Okay, if we could just move to the second slide. Thanks. So I just wanted to
Okay.
tell everyone a little about Western Sydney University. So there's a bit of an update on these rankings. We've been recently elevated to number 36 in the world in the 2020 rankings of universities under the age of 50. We're still number 10 in Australia. There's been a bit of movement in the Australian universities, but number 36 in the world. And in terms of the Times Higher Education Impact Rankings, which measure universities' contributions to the achievement of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, we are number 2 in Australia, but number 3 in the world. We are the top Australian university for attention to clean water and sanitation, the top Australian university for life below water, top Australian university for life on land. These are very significant rankings for us because they also include our contribution to addressing issues of gender equality and social inequality. So it's a very important set of rankings. Overall, across a number of ranking systems, Western Sydney University is in the top 2% of world universities. This is important for us in our region as we provide a high quality education to the growing area of Western Sydney and contribute to the increase in university attainment in Western Sydney. It's of course very important for the quality of teaching and learning that we offer to our partners also. Thank you, Maura. To the next slide. A nice relevant thing for this partnership is our top 100 ranking in communications and media studies in the QS World University Rankings. It's very important to tell you something of the quality of the program offered by the school, offered by the colleagues who will be presenting to you this afternoon. So I'll hand over now to Dr. Chand.
Thank you, Peter. And thank you, Colonel Sharma and Dr. Maithili Ganju for organizing this event. We have been in discussions about this articulation for the last 2 years, and now I think we are at a really crucial point where we are making some really strong decisions about moving forward. And one of the things that we are really focusing on today is moving towards online learning through this articulation agreement. The students who will be joining our program are completing their first year of study in the Bachelor of Journalism and Mass Communication at Manav Rashna. We have mapped our programs and are giving you 80 credit points of advanced standing, which means that you join us in second year, and for second year for you would be 2021. Colonel Sharma and Maithili and I have been speaking over the last few weeks in preparation for this webinar, especially taking in mind the COVID-19 situation. We are now proposing that we go ahead with this initiative and enroll the Manav Rashna students into our program for 2021. And we want to really start progressing that. So in other words, we are not really going to be waiting for the borders to open. And by September, we'll start working on our timetable for 2021. And so the students will start to enroll. And I just had a discussion again this afternoon with Maithili, and we will help the students transition into the program. And Myra will talk in detail about how that will happen. Jackie will also talk about the success of the online program. I know that we are going through a really difficult period of dealing with the COVID-19 situation. Myra, next slide, please. But we are also aware that we need to keep progressing and moving on. So please get into that mindset. I know some parents are also participating. I know how difficult it is to send students and your children away to learn in different environments, and there's this fear factor all the time. But please rest assured that our online program is really highly regarded. We've just completed 1 semester of complete online learning, and Jackie will talk about the success of that later on. I also wanted to touch on some of the journalism studies in the program and how and what the students learn. So when you come into the second year, you will learn about progressing your journalism studies from Manav Rashna. In the Western Sydney program, students get to practice the craft of writing, editing, and presenting work for online and digital media. We allow students to do internships, and given the current situation, we are very much into developing the virtual internship program, which has been really successful in the last semester. Students do a unit called News Teams, where they work in teams and produce news copy for multimedia platforms. So we're very digital focused. And of course, Amara will talk about the other areas where you study about other areas of communications. The degree that you get is the Bachelor of Communication. Without taking too much of your time, I will now pass on the presentation form to Nimi, who has been with us for 2 years now, and without stealing her thunder, she will be able to talk to you about how successful the program has been for her and how she's now stepping into another area of learning. Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Nimi, and I'm from Arunachal Pradesh, India. So I did my 1.5 years of bachelor's degree in St. Joseph's College in Bangalore. And before I came to Western Sydney with advanced standing credit. So although I had no issues with the syllabus initially in India, and while I say this, I'm not in any way undermining the education system in India, I just found it a little bit more focused on theoretical aspects rather than touching on the practical approach that Australia provides. So during my bachelor's, I found that most colleges and universities in India do not really focus much on the practical technical side of media rather than they are more about the theoretical aspects. So to even get to touch a professional camera in India, sometimes you will have to enroll for Masters of Mass Communications at least. But here in Western Sydney, you get to do a lot more than that during your bachelor's itself, and with more focus on new media and different platforms of media and how to approach it, while also, you know, focusing on the traditional media like writing and all that stuff. Western Sydney gives you all of that, and, you know, make sure that you're job ready by the time you graduate. So Mara, if you could just change the slide. So the picture that you see here is when the final year students of communications were given a chance to interact with the agents from overseas who had come to learn more about the communication degree here. So as you can see, you know, with the modern studios that the uni has to provide for students of communication, with teleprompters, professional video cameras, studio lightings, it gave us a feel of an actual TV set. And then, yeah, so coming to online classes, I had done 1 unit of online class even before COVID. It was mainly, that unit was photojournalism. So I did it because I actually had part-time job on that day. So sometimes it gives you that kind of flexibility. If you have other things to do, like if you're writing for other publications, or if you need to save money and time when you you know, on days where you just have to go to uni for 1 day. So that was really helpful. And I actually feel that, you know, to be getting an education and having access to an international university like Western Sydney, while at the comfort of your home right now, safe and sound during a pandemic, is such a privilege that shouldn't be overlooked. And then it's indeed an advantage for you guys, because when I first came here, I had to figure out how this education system in Australia works, while at the same time, how the transportation works, where to look for accommodation and part-time jobs. So it was really difficult for me. But if you guys start online class right now, staying at the comfort of your home, when you come to Australia, there will just be one less problem to deal with. And, you know, the transition is going to be much more smoother. So, yeah. Anything else? Yeah, check.
Thanks, Nimi. It's been wonderful having you at Western Sydney. It's been a real joy. So thank you for sharing your experience there with us.
Thank you.
So I'm Jackie Montgomery, and I'm the Director of Academic Program for the degrees of Bachelor of Communication, Bachelor of Creative Industries, and Bachelor of Screen Media. And my role is essentially to ensure that the degrees are of very high quality and cutting edge, so that the students are learning the latest, so that they are career ready, as Nimi mentioned. And I was very honoured last year to win the Vice-Chancellor's Award for Excellence. We're very, very proud of our programs here at Western, and we work very closely with industry, with the news media channels, with experienced journalists, so that what students are learning is the latest, and it's very real. It's not just theoretical. They do, of course, receive a very strong theoretical understanding, but they get that practical experience, which is really important. We bring in the guest lecturers, the students work on real briefs, they work on real stories. So the focus is very much getting students career ready. And part of that is of course bringing students into contact with industry players the moment they start with us and start the units. And that's with every unit. Every unit does have a practical component. Now, we've been running our programs online, fully online, since 2015. So it's been quite a journey. And our team actually has won a university award for the way in which we've approached online learning. So we've developed different ways of communicating with students, innovative class activities online, so the students are engaged, the way students work in groups, in breakout rooms, working in groups on social media so that they feel part of a community. You always feel, according to student feedback, this is not just me saying this, that you are part of a group. You're never on your own when you're in an online learning situation with us. And the unit coordinators pay a lot of attention to ensuring that students do feel engaged and involved and part of the group. And at the moment, thanks to COVID-19, most of our classes are online. And because of our long experience in teaching in this way, we're getting tremendous feedback, not only from students who may have previously been on campus learning with us, but from students across the university who might be taking our units as electives, who've never experienced online learning before. So they're loving it. The latest reports that we've got in from last semester, which ended about a month ago, student feedback is that they didn't know that it could be so enjoyable, that they could actually debate online in the Zoom sessions, that they could work on group projects through Zoom, things like this. The failure rate was very low, which is always a good sign. And we don't have exams in our units. We tend to focus more on individual assessments and group projects. Now, I just wanted to briefly mention one of our new units. Next slide, Mara, thank you. This is a unit that we created last year based on research, and also because we've worked so closely with industry, we understand that this is important for students. It's a unit called Personal Branding Strategies, and it's about students understanding what's really important to them, what their values are, where they'd like to go in the future, and developing a very strong personal profile that they can take with them after they leave university. So in this unit, they develop networks, they create blogs, very strong professional social media profiles, and build connections in the industry that they choose. And they leave this unit with a 6-month plan to continue building their personal brand. Very important these days to have a strong personal profile. And it's another way in which students are able to secure work, because they're standing out. That's the little guy with under the red spotlight. That's our student, standing out compared to perhaps graduates from other universities. So that's it from me. I'll hand over now to Myra.
Thank you, Jackie, and thank you, everyone. As I was introduced, I'm the academic course advisor for the Bachelor of Communication and the Bachelor of Screen Media. So, and we have intersecting programs where units go across both of those degrees. Now, my role in particular is from the title of my position is to advise students about their progression, to help them work their way through the degree, to help them with any problems that they have, and to, if I can't help them, to find out, or to give them advice about where they might go to support, to get the information that they need. As Jackie and Asha said, we've been fortunate to some extent in the current COVID situation in our program in particular, because of the fact that we have for the past several years actually run our units, or the majority of our units, as an online course in addition to our traditional on-campus course. So when the COVID lockdown happened here in Australia, the university, for reasons of public health, decided that all courses would be online. So from our point of view, we were very fortunate in that we already had a lot of resources, and we had built up, each of us individually who teach separate units had, programs where we could actually adapt relatively easy to that demand, and which wasn't necessarily the case elsewhere. And it's a lot of work to actually do that initially, but just purely by chance that we happened to have that our program up and running anyway. So there wasn't it wasn't as difficult as it was for some other programs within the university, and I imagine within other universities as well. Part of my my role, I think, I go to, this is a slide which outlines our programs just in general. Now, in the articulation arrangement that we have with your university, which I don't have the specific details of in front of me because I've got my screen being shared with you, we've given you, as Asha said, 80 credit points of credit against some of the units that you will have done in your program. And I can't specifically remember which ones they are exactly. I'm pretty sure it's many of the journalism units. Now, in our program, in addition to journalism, we also have majors in advertising, which is Jackie's in charge of that, in public relations, and also in media arts production. So once you've done our core units, our theoretical units in first year, and you'll have credit for some of those, you then make a decision to follow a major. Now, I imagine that the majority of students coming to us from Mount Gresham would be journalism, so they would choose the journalism major, and there is a sequence of units, many of which, or some of which you won't have to do because you've already done equivalent units in your university, to follow through that stream. Now, the other thing that perhaps is a little bit distinctive in the way that our program is organised is that all students, regardless of their major, will do a set of what we call core units, which underpin many of the media arts professions, or the communication and media professions. And you can see some of them here, such as writing ecologies, media culture industries, visual storytelling, etc. Professional writing and editing, which is one of my units. and a communication research project, which is another one that I teach, media memory, etc. So everyone does those, and then the students then go ahead and progress through their specific major. Within the major, they also have 4 elective spaces. So students can choose units from other majors as long as there's no prerequisites to those units, or sometimes elsewhere from within the university program, and that can include from within the Bachelor of Arts program, for example. And some other students quite often do units from the Bachelor of Business and things like that. So it really, that's a sort of a free choice of 4 units or 40 credit points of units within the total degree. So they're the electives that I've got noted here on this particular slide. Now, part of my job is to help students navigate those things, and they're quite, you can imagine that it can be complicated, because people have different pathways and start in different semesters and things like that. So I'm sort of on tap, if you like, and obviously, particularly given the current situation, we've been doing all of our course advising. That's what I've been doing for most of the last 2 weeks, fairly well intensively, either via email, quite often via Zoom with students, and so they get one-on-one support with questions and with other things as well. Now, as Jackie and Asha mentioned, the unit coordinators are the people who have specific responsibility for organising the individual. In the current, in normal situation, they're always obviously very approachable. You make an appointment, go and see them, but obviously these days we deal mostly on email and via Zoom, and we're quite aware of the difficulties and some of the problems that students can have working remotely, which is not our normal way of doing it. But so we have made particular efforts and have particular strategies in place to assist students, in probably more more contact than perhaps we would in the regular situation. Now, the other thing the university also has, and I think is a very, very strong selling point, is that we have a fabulous library. And if you're here on campus with us, we have, there's, many of our different campuses have terrific libraries. We have wonderful library staff. But we also have student support systems within those, within the library, with things to help students with essay writing or assignments, with referencing, and so on. If you're doing computing, there's a mathematics support network as well. So part of my job is that if people are struggling or have difficulties, which is often people coming from international students who are perhaps not familiar with what's expected in an Australian university, that's the mechanisms there that are in place to help you with your academic writing, and referencing all of those sorts of academic things that are involved in the assignments that you would do. All right, so here's in the second slide here. There's the journalism units there in that far left column, and as I said, in the articulation, quite a few of those have been given as credits, but they I can't remember off the top of my head which ones they are, but there's quite a few that we worked out in our 80 credit points. So I think, I think is all that I probably need to say. As I said, my email address for contact with any specific questions about the program and any other issues is regularly broadcast, and I'm happy to talk to people over email or via Zoom with specific questions if students have them, and because that's essentially is my role. Right, so we'll pass that on to Namrata.
Thanks, Maria. Hi, everyone. Very good morning to all of you. So I am Namrata Anand. I'm based out of the Delhi office. So the good thing is that I'm very close to you. So I can help you and assist you with your application processes, scholarship opportunities that we have, and any other things or concerns that you may have in regards to your visa applications. We are based in Delhi. We've got a big team of 10 people who are working on the ground to help all our students transition through their journey to Western Sydney. So please feel free to get in touch with me even after this session. If you need my contact details, I'll also post them, but my email address is definitely mentioned here. Can I have the next slide, Maya, please? So when we talk about entry requirements to any of our programs, especially if you're looking for a direct entry or even a pathway to Western Sydney, what we need from a CBSE or an ICSE board is a 60% in best 4 subjects. And if you've done an A-level or an IB diploma, what we would require is at least a 6 points from 3 A-level subjects. And from an IB score, at least 24 points. And it also means that you should have completed your IB diploma. It should not be a certificate level. Other than the academic requirements, we also need to see your English capabilities. So you can do an IELTS test, a Pearson test, or a TOEFL test that's recognized by any of the Australian universities. So what we would need is from an IELTS score 6.5 overall and a 6.0 in each module. Then Pearson testing should have at least 58 overall and a 50 score in each module, or else a TOEFL of 82 with 21 in writing. So that's the basic entry requirement score for any of our undergraduate programs and for communication as well. Can we have the next slide, please? Scholarships. So there are plenty of scholarships being offered for all of our undergraduate programs. Again, when we talk about the year 12 students, we normally would look at least 65% in best 4 subjects, and that would give you a $5,000 multi-year scholarship. So over a period of 3 years, you get $15,000 scholarship. Then we've got a higher scholarship, that's $7,500. Again, an overall period of 3 years will be covered, and 75% in best 4 subjects is what we need in order to qualify for that scholarship. From A levels, we look at least a score of 11. And again, at least 3 A-level subjects need to be completed. And for 7,500, it should be 8 score with 3 A-level subjects that needs to be completed again. From IB, it should be 26 points with a diploma being completed for a 5,000 multi-year, and 7,500 would require at least a 28 score with a diploma being completed. And obviously your English scores, that would matter as well when we look at scholarships. Then we've got another scholarship. Mara, can we have the next slide, please? That's the Vice Chancellor Scholarship. So that's the highest scholarship that's being offered by the university. So that gives you 50% overall scholarship for the 3 years. So one of the best scholarships that we have, and obviously it's prestigious. So it's attached with the Vice Chancellor's office. We normally would need at least an 8R or from CBSE or an ISC board, at least 90% above equivalent or above. And then we rank the scholarships. So when we look at a GPA, it should be at least 5.95 over a scale of 7. All the scholarships are then measured on the basis of whoever ranks first. So we collect the applications and then we start ranking these scholarships in order. Once we have the best 15 students for any of our undergraduate programs, then we make the announcements. There are no separate applications required for these scholarships. So once you submit an application for the program, your scholarship is automatically assessed. The Vice Chancellor one is the most important one, and it's announced at the end, because we wait for students to enroll with us, and then we make an announcement once we've got a group of students to make the scholarships. And you can also get in touch with us. We can look at your overall profile and let you know whether or not you'll qualify for the Vice Chancellor Scholarship. But yes, the best GPAs will receive the scholarship, and they are offered first. So anyone who declines the scholarship, then it passes on to the next student. So that's how it works. So again, as I mentioned, you can get in touch with me. We are based in Delhi. Our office is in Connaught Place, Janpat. Once everything gets back to normal, we are happy to meet face-to-face as well. We'll be happy to come to your campuses and meet you, have a one-on-one discussion, and take it forward with you guys. I think that's it from my end, Myra. Thank you very much. I'll pass it back to Dr. Asha now.
Thank you so much. Namrata, and thank you all of you. Can you also notice that on this slide, on the last slide, we've got our Facebook link. Like Jackie mentioned earlier in her presentation, we also network with our former students because we are very much focused on providing employment opportunities for our students, internship opportunities, and all sorts of experiences while they're still studying with us. So through this Facebook group, we make announcements about opportunities. We also network, and we also share some of the good news about the places and places our students go to, or great achievements of our students. So take note of this, please, and you can start joining us so that, if you have any questions, we can also use social media to reach you and to answer your specific questions. And now I think we'll be ready to answer questions via the chat box.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Asha. And we have enabled the chat function for all the participants to post their questions in the chat box. Meanwhile, I also wanted to highlight one of the exceptional points about this joint program, especially in the current COVID scenario, where students who are aspiring to go abroad for studies are not able to travel to the desired destination country. This program provides a unique opportunity for the students to join the international program at Western Sydney University while being in India, studying in Manav Rachna campus, earning their credits, which will be duly recognized by Western Sydney University. And as things normalize in the second year, move on to Western Sydney University for pursuing higher studies in the international campus. So this is a very good opportunity for the students here in India who are not able to travel abroad right now for their studies.
May I come in, Colonel Girish? I just wanted to take the opportunity of sort of welcoming our partners from Sydney and Namrata, of course, here. I also thought that I should add the cherry to the entire cake by saying, by talking to the young students here and the parents about the course which we are offering here. You see, the articulation that we have with Western Sydney allows us 2 semesters to be done in Manav Rachna at Faridabad. So we are talking about the courses which are going to start, the sessions which is going to start as soon as the UGC opens up all the universities, which is around the 15th of August. I would request all of you to consider this option as well, which is to be here in India from your home, depending on when we are allowed to go and be in the fabulous campus which we have, and finish your 2 semesters, which is 80 credits, after which you are eligible to go to Western Sydney University, which is to go to Sydney, which would be around July 2021. And we are all hopeful that by then everything would be under control. But God forbid, even if we have to wait another semester, not to worry, because our partners, the ones who are here and generously giving all the time to talk about the program, are going to be very much in sync with us in giving you the online classes even further. And then whenever the time permits and whenever we are comfortable to travel and complete our 3rd year or the 2nd year, you would be able to go to Australia. So why I say this is cherry? Because in the given situation where I'm sure either you people are giving up on your hopes of studying abroad, or you are still sort of not sure and may lose a semester right now in just deciding, here is an option where you are going to get into a course right in August when everybody in India is going to get into college. You will also get to a college and you will be doing an international course, and you are going to finish it off with your exposure in Sydney and get the degree there. So I think given the situation as Colonel was explaining, it's a very, very good option. And I want all of you to consider this. Of course, you can visit or online Manav Rachna admissions team, who will brief you in detail, or even I'm available, and so is my team, which is here as well. We are all available for you to consult us and figure out what works best for you. All the best for taking your decisions. That's all I wanted to add.
Thank you, Dr. Ganju. Very nicely explained and reinforces the point that I was making. So we have few questions pouring in the chat box. They, as I see, are primarily of two categories. One which is focused on the session today. Somebody has inquired about the possibility of master's program. So it may be nice someone from your side could give the broad outline of how a student, after joining this joint program, coming to your university campus, can move on to do a master's degree. And also, if what are the work opportunities then for a master's student after that? We'll take the other questions subsequently.
Well, Sharma, I might start on that particular question. There's two kinds of master's programs that we offer at Western Sydney University. We offer coursework study programs at the master's level from a year to 2 years, and they have a small research component. So they're really professionally focused courses. We have courses ranging from the Master of Business Administration through to the Master of Creative Industries, which you offer in our school and extends students' learning in the communications area. For students like our wonderful student Nimi, who want to do research after their undergraduate program, we have a Master of Research program which is offered over 2 years by the university. It's quite an innovative program which provides a pathway qualification to doctoral study, and Western Sydney University has an extensive range of PhD programs, picking up on one of the other questions in the chat box. So the Master of Research has 1 year of coursework-based activities, followed by a year in which a dissertation is the main focus. And there are scholarship arrangements for the Master of Research to support students going through that pathway. And graduates from our Master of Research then have access to PhD scholarships on conclusion of their studies in that field. I'll also just pick up one related question that came very early on in the chat about English honours programs. We do teach English literature as part of our arts degree at Western Sydney. It's taught in our school. In terms of honours, you would, completing your undergraduate degree, you would go on to do the Master of Research. We don't have an honours program in the traditional way that some Australian universities still have, or British universities and Indian universities have. Honours work is done at the Master of Research level.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Peter. Very nicely explained by you. We have multiple questions coming in the chat box here. We have students from schools also attending this session, and the students are inquiring about various courses that your university offers. They vary from chemistry to mathematics to psychology to computers to tourism to this. So while the focus of this session is on journalism and mass communication, I'm grateful to Ms. Namrata, who's been answering these questions. And what I suggest to the participants who are interested in these queries is to address these questions to Ms. Namrata, and she'll be able to provide all the information. I would like to request her to post her email ID once again in the chat box so that students can approach you directly. It's also interesting to see as to how the awareness about Western Sydney University has increased many folds. And now school students who want to aspire for international education are, probing this option for various subjects. So I'll just see if I have missed out. One point that I wanted to ask on behalf of the participants, someone can answer from your side, especially in the COVID scenario where the students are not able to work off class hours, which they were earlier. Therefore, for some students who are planning to manage their finances by working beyond class hours outside of the campus, I just wanted you to throw some light as to how the situation is and how will the students be able to work still. Let's say in the present circumstances, things will improve in near future. This will help students to understand the finance calculation much better. Thanks.
Of course, Colonel Sharma, I'm happy to respond on that point. I'll firstly begin by saying that Western Sydney University has set up a student support fund through this period, particularly to support international students, but also to support domestic students, because students have been equally affected by the turn down in their employment opportunities. Many of those part-time opportunities relate to the hospitality industry, particularly restaurants, and restaurants in Sydney have been reopened. There is a current consideration, because we're having a bit of a second wave, whether they might be further restricted in terms of the number of people who can attend. But the return of that, the restaurant industry has been an important one for student employment. The retail sector has been affected differentially. Retail is another area where many students find employment. Large-scale retail such as supermarkets were pretty much unaffected. In fact, there was more work available in those facilities during the period of shutdown. Some of the other forms of retail, which is more discretionary, have been adversely affected. But I would anticipate that by the time any of your students were able to reach Australia, the economy should be in a healthier state, noting that there's a very high rate of youth unemployment currently, and that could be running for some time. I don't want to be dishonest about the prospects, but particularly around our campuses, there should be improved opportunities for students to find part-time employment by the time that travel is opened up.
Thank you, Professor Peter, for explaining it so simply, and it has come across very nicely. So I'm waiting for any other questions.
I noticed there was one question about requirements for law courses. Law is also a combined degree with our communications program. So we've got an undergraduate law program, which is normally a graduate level entry. Our law school is opening up their undergraduate law program to make it more accessible to students who haven't studied something before taking on a law degree. So those changes will be available by the time many of the participants in this seminar are interested in studying law, if they wanted to come to Western Sydney. And we're also introducing a Juris Doctor program, the JD program, as part of our law school. So the pathways are either at initial undergraduate, double degree with another area of interest over 5 years, or postgraduate law opportunities.
This is very interesting. So we'll discuss this separately with you, because we would be interested in a joint program in field of law as well. So here is a question by Soumya Sharma. Could you please elaborate more on what kind of internship opportunities are there after the journalism course?
I'll ask Jackie to come in there. That's her area of expertise around internships.
Yes, happy to answer that. And Asha might like to contribute as well. Look, even though there are fewer businesses operating at the moment, we're finding that our students are still securing internships. A lot of them are virtual internships. So the student will meet with their supervisor, and this is, you know, through media channels, agencies, advertising agencies in my situation, all sorts of employers. They'll meet with their employer via Zoom and be briefed on the tasks or project that they'll be working on for the duration of the internship. And the student will also be involved with work in progress meetings or team meetings that the employer might have. So just like we're having this big meeting now, the student will be involved with the rest of the team at the employer's place. And I guess everyone would be either, you know, at their home or wherever that might be right now. So it does operate in a very similar way as it would if it wasn't, you know, a COVID situation, and you're working on very similar kinds of projects. In terms of a journalism type of internship, you may be briefed on a story that they would like you to cover, or research that they might like you to do to contribute to that story, and you file it as you would in a regular workplace. So this is a new world for everyone, but we've been running virtual internships, or students have been doing them now for a semester, so we do have some experience in that, and we've just started our second semester, so we're having students placed in internships now, in virtual internships, and it is working. It's not the same, but it's different, and the students are building up different skills, which I think are also quite valuable. You know, being able to interview someone via Zoom, how do you do that professionally? How do you advise them where to look to the camera, where to sit in the room? Is the lighting okay? Because you've got to record the interview. So doing all these things, you're building up a new set of skills. So it's quite valuable in that sense. So we're seeing a lot of success initially, first semester, and as I just said, we're launching into another round of internships. Asha, did you want to comment any further on that?
Thank you, Jackie. Very well explained. I just wanted to add that we also network with our industry partners, and these include media organizations, government organizations, non-profit organizations, and our students are really able to transition into work following their internships, and they do 105 hours of supervised work by the placement as well as by the academics. And it's very important, or it's a core unit in the Bachelor of Communication. So irrespective of the major that you do, you end up doing the internship unit, and we really put a lot of emphasis on the internship unit, because that's more like a stepping stone into the area of work that you specialize in. And yeah, so we sometimes even nominate students for internships because industry partners come to us. And on that point, I'd also like to mention that in New South Wales, our graduates are regarded as #1 for employability because of the kinds of internships they do. And I've also associated with the Australian Business Council. So through them, we are able to find internship placements for our students as well. So we've got a very wide network of industry partners who contribute to this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor
Colonel Sharma, I might also add, picking up Dr. Chan's point about employment after graduation, a very important point was announced by the Australian government today in respect of students who might commence their studies in Australia offshore online, as we are discussing. That period of study will be counted towards their post-study visa eligibility. So students who spend 2 years studying in Australia are able to stay in Australia after their studies on a working visa for 2 years. That arrangement is extended to those international students who will commence their studies overseas online before being able to come to Australia because of travel restrictions. That was an announcement today. It's a very significant announcement in terms of the visa arrangements for international students.
This indeed is good news given by you to everyone here. I would also like to apprise all the participants that apart from the unique aspects of this joint program, we also have in our plans to have at least one faculty exchange between both the universities, and also a small group of students who will visit each other's campus. So this will tremendously add value to the course, and it will increase the intensity of the interaction between both our universities. So that is very much on cards. As and when the situation normalizes, both Dr. Asha Chand and me are working on this, and we will make that happen. So I think the time is also up, and there are not many questions anymore. So on behalf of everyone from India, from Manav Rachna, I would like to thank each one of the panelists, especially Professor Peter, for sparing your time to be able to be with us, to provide so much of detailed information and increase the awareness about this joint program amongst our faculty, our students, our parents. We are grateful to you for this very interesting session, and we wish you a very safe and wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Sharma, and thank you, Dr. Ganju, and thank you, students and parents who've attended the seminar. And I also thank my colleagues for their participation. I hope that all of you will prosper in your studies and stay safe and healthy. And I hope that we'll be able to see each other in our respective countries before too long. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.